Hi everyone, we are here at the beautiful University Farm on the, off campus I should say, of NC State University and in Greensboro, and we've got some wonderful women here involved in agriculture, leaders in agriculture, and just having a little discussion today talking about women in ag, the importance of it, what we do for each other and what it means, that kind of thing. So just to get started, I want everyone to introduce yourselves and tell a bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Shirley Hyman Parker. I'm the Associate Dean for Research here at the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences at North Carolina A&T State University.
I'm Michelle Von Cannon from the Biotech Center. I'm also known as Shirley's biggest cheerleader. So we work in ag sector development for the state of North Carolina.
Hey everyone, I'm Crystal Kyle. I am the Agribility Director and I work with North Carolina Agrimedicine for research. I'm a veteran, so I focus in on veteran research.
I'm Tanya Penix. I am the owner of Morning Dove Farm in Caswell County, North Carolina, and we do a small produce farm and have a roadside stand.
And I'm Jessica Wilburn. I'm the North Carolina AgriSafe Nurse Coordinator for the Agrimedicine Institute, and we focus on health and safety for farmers, fishermen, and loggers all over the state. And I'm also a farmer. So Uari Ridge Farms is our farm, and we raise registered Black Angus beef cows and do seed stock.
And I'm Linda Loveland. I'm the Director of Communications with the North Carolina Farm Bureau. So Shirley, let's start with you. With your position here at the university, you certainly see a lot of people coming up through the system. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing as far as the numbers of women or women being involved in agriculture and maybe what they're doing, a little bit about that.
Actually, we're seeing a growth in terms of women faculty members and in extension. Ideally there was a time ag was considered dominated mostly by men, but when we look at enrollment in our program, we find that there are far more women in ag and in our programs than there are men. And earlier today you had a chance to meet a couple of our rising stars, and as you'll see, they're young women, they're energetic women, and they're able to share their passion with students that are coming up through the pipeline. One of the things they tend to say about ag is that it's an area that not many people are going into, but when you see these individuals and when they're talking with students, they excite them about that. And when you have women as role models, that excites them even more so. So I'm seeing that growth of women coming into our ag profession, and that's making a world of difference. And so that's transcending to future generations and our ability to make sure that we are educating more women to come into ag.
I tell you, you got some rock stars coming up through there, so it was a thrill to talk with them today. They are fantastic. Well, let's talk about the community of women in agriculture and how we sort of need each other. So maybe, Tanya, that's something that you can talk about, because women as a whole in agriculture, since there aren't as many of us, I mean, that's something that we need, and I think women thrive on that.
That is so true. I go to some of the meetings. We have a Caswell Women in Ag Facebook group, and we meet at everybody's farms and bring a potluck to just see what we're doing. And there are men, of course, in the industry, and they plant and they do, but we are experiencing and learning our own ways of doing things. And having smaller farms, we have blueberry farms, we have produce farms, we have goats and cattle, and to have those women active and you can visit and do what we're doing here today, it's helped out a lot, because in my area there are very few women that are doing this, and it's just a great support system when you can call and say, hey, I need information on, or can we just talk through this, or maybe I just need to scream for the day. You can help me. Just that support group is just very important, very important.
It's been a great sounding board, I think, on the Facebook group. And the other thing is, let's just be honest, men and women process things a little bit differently, and being able to turn to your peers and talk through those things with somebody who understands is great.
Yeah. And women care more. They're passionate, they're more nurturing, and so one of the things they'll do is when they say they're going to do something, they follow through and make sure it happens.
And also understanding that women in agriculture doesn't always mean that they are boots on the ground.
Right.
So there are a lot of challenges that women in agriculture may not understand, the boots on the ground aspect, because that's what the males may be doing, but they need to better comprehend it and understand it so that they can all relate together and improve relationships and be more supportive in general for agriculture. So that's where that supportive aspect of it is so important, whether you are boots in the ground or not.
And there are just so many roles in agriculture for women. We've talked about that before, and I'm sure there are plenty that you see coming, with being at A&T. I mean, there are so many it isn't just being a traditional farmer, or it's not just being a veterinarian. I mean, there are just so many roles.
No, and in fact, you have so many that are in administration that are also helping with developing community initiatives that we're trying to help serve our community. I think when I talk about women in the community, I'm thinking in terms of the building initiatives that we have here on the farm. And when you look at the individuals who started the process, they were women, feeding into what people are looking for. Now, yes, men are engaged, but they looked at what are we really looking for, what's needed. And so what we have now coming up here at the University Farm, there are 3 new building initiatives that are taking place. One is called the Farm Pavilion, and in that Farm Pavilion, it's going to help us begin to have more larger events for the community to come in, where we will educate them about agriculture, and how to just demonstrations of using ag products, etc. Our 4-Hers, our young people. So we have small farms and field days. So that's another venue for us to be able to do that. In addition to our faculty using the pavilion as a training ground, and for cooperative extension to conduct their demonstration. But what I also get very excited about is our student and community garden. So we have our faculty, most being led by female faculty, that are teaching and working with our students. Our students are what we would call train the trainer. So they're now training the community. They're going to help the community identify what are like the best crops to be able to grow. And then there's space for the community to be able to have boxcar raised bed gardens here. And then the last that we're in the design stage for is what's called our community and urban food complex. And what that will house is a creamery. So in addition to being able to use the milk from our cows, we'll also be able to help some of our other local farmers to get theirs and make the ice cream. And so we'll have Aggie ice cream. But then the bigger piece that we get excited about also will be that incubator. We'll have a business incubator so that our small farmers will have an opportunity to come in and they can use our facility. We'll help them with a business plan, and then they can come in and basically set up an operation and learn how to package, create a demand for their product, and get that out. And then once they do that, then we'll move in another group, etc. So, as a college, we are, paving the way to have a better presence in helping our community, women and, families in general, to be able to do more in the way of ag and have access to fresh fruits and vegetables.
You were talking about students who are coming up and through ag. You weren't really involved in it and then kind of came into it late. That's been an interesting journey for you, how you got involved.
Right. I learned agriculture through North Carolina A&T. I did my undergrad here and my master's here, and then furthered my education through a PhD at Virginia Tech, and then now I'm back working in a role here at A&T. So I've kind of seen different sides of it. I've seen row cropping, animal production, and now I'm on the cooperative extension side. So going back to the community and helping people on the ground level and making sure that they're seeing how to go from science to the field.
That's fantastic. So you're out in the community a lot. What are you seeing as far as women in agriculture? As far as are they trying new things, or are they really get involved? I mean, what do you kind of see?
Well, first I see that women have always been involved in agriculture. It's definitely not new. It's just been quiet because the males usually are in control of the farm. So what I'm seeing in the communities now is that women are taking control of the farm. They're getting their name on property. They're taking control of the business side, and they're getting business plans. They want to be involved, and men are actually very open to that, and they're very perceptive to the change, and they want to be a part of that change too. So I'm seeing families that are coming together, and it's not always the case, but I'm seeing families that are coming together and women that are stepping up and taking parts of the farm. And they want to learn how to be safe. They want to learn how to do things productively, and so they're going back to school. So women in ag and in the academic world, as I've been going through school, has predominantly been women.
And you started when you went back to school. How old were you? Not to try to date you, but
thanks. So I first joined the military. I served 10 years. I joined the military at 17 years old. I came from a low-income family in eastern Greensboro. I went on to to go to the military, served 10 years, got out of the military, used the GI Bill to come back to A&T. I knew I wanted to go to A&T from the time that I was growing up because I grew up in this neighborhood.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So I am getting ready to turn 40 in November.
I
So
didn't ask
I have
that.
made I have made a full circle back to the university.
Oh, that's fantastic. There are so many groups. I know, Stephen, from the Farm Bureau side, of course, we have our women's committees in every county. We have them in, as you're aware, we have them on a statewide level, and we have them on a national level as well. So there are certainly very strong women's groups at every level of the process, I guess, leading the way.
The Young Farmers and Ranchers group is also predominantly the participants lots of times with women, because their husbands may or may not be able to always make it to the meetings, even though they'll participate. And when you have these younger farmers that are starting, first generation farmers, it takes both to make the farm work. And just like my husband and I mean, I drive the tractors, I help get up the hay, I feed the cows. We work the cows together because you have to be partnerships. So women are very much so involved in agriculture. And I think we're just going to see the numbers rise more and more as their participation in it and how involved they are, which is a great thing.
That's one of the things we've heard too, is I think that the women have been there from the beginning, but they're also becoming more vocal. And with this day and age of transparency, it's been an easy transition for a lot of them to be the ones that come out and become the face of agriculture and talk about it more, because I think a lot of men, that's not kind of their wheelhouse or not what their preference is on the farm. So
I didn't start out in agriculture at all. My husband he started with his uncle tobacco farm at the age of 9. I had no interest of ever being in ag until we moved back to Caswell County, and that's when I realized, the importance of family farms, what we have, and what we're trying to educate the community and other people on keeping and learning that it is of value to you. And again, as you said, you're out there and we're doing both sides. I'm in the field and then I'm doing the paperwork, I'm doing the grants, I'm doing the reports. I'm trying to make sure that everything is in order because we want to be safe, we want to do it the right way. But it's just being able to meet and have that network and be in organizations, because we are in the Farm Bureau Lead program as the older crowd. But it has been such a great learning experience, and to see what different organizations do and then to be able to apply it makes a world of difference to have that community network.
Well, I would say in RTP where I work, we're not on a farm. We're in offices and we're going out and doing economic development for the state. And so for the first 4 years that I was really working as, I was very often the only woman that would be in the room for meetings. And so it really took going to a national Women in Agribusiness summit for me to realize. I walked in and there's like over 600 women. Wow. And it was just the most overwhelming thing. And I'm not great at networking. So within a couple hours, I was just at the most ease I've ever been. And it's really an amazing, comfortable thing. And I know there are other national organizations, National Women in Agriculture Association and others, and just having that. And the majority of them were from North Carolina, I would like to say.
They are starting a North Carolina chapter. They just started in
for the National Women in Agriculture Association, I heard.
Hoping to be a part of that. And they're having their conference next week in Tennessee. So, like I said, meeting all these people has just been so overjoying and empowering. So
you can learn so much through networking, certainly, and by sharing each other's victories and maybe pitfalls and defeats in a sense. But as we finish this up, any last piece of advice for women wanting to get involved in ag, or maybe women who are just getting involved and kind of struggling? So I know some of you have mentioned this before, but if you want to go down the line and who wants to start, just kind of pipe something out.
I think it's important just to reach out. I mean, use your social media, use your extension offices, get with your Farm Bureau groups, any other support groups, get with your neighbors. If you have farmer neighbors, there's women that's typically there. And get with them, and you would be surprised how supportive they actually are once they realize that you either need help or you won't help.
I just say don't give up. I mean, because again, I never thought that I would be farming. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, because once you get into it and your heart gets into the earth, then, you know, I would say I'm going to dig in the dirt. That connection that you have with what we are given, and we only have one earth here, but don't give up. There are organizations and there are people out there that will help you, and it will be the best experience in your whole entire life.
I guess to be different, I would say to start small. As a meat goat farmer, I originally went in and tried to do, you know, 7 different areas of production, crop production, animal production, and now I've scaled down to 35 meat goats and started there, and now I'm going to branch back out slowly. But getting your network and knowing who you can reach out to, and if that's women farmers, you find them and you talk and have dinner together. Food is everything, so sit down at a meal and talk. You'll be surprised what you can learn. So finding your network and don't overdo it. Start small if you're first getting into agriculture.
Well, and I think, you know, my family, my extended family had a farm that we were on all the time. I didn't grow up on the farm working it, but it was always a passion, something I was really interested in and enjoyed. But that's not where my skill set was. And so, like what you were saying, this is not where you really pictured yourself. I'm in marketing, communications, event planning, things of that nature, but I found a way to marry those two, and I could come back and promote agriculture in North Carolina, the state I love, and never discount you can connect anything to ag. So
Yeah.
And my advice would be find your niche. You can't be all things to all people, but find what it is that you do extremely well and what you're passionate about, and then stick to it, as I heard earlier. But I also would encourage people to remember that there are a number of resources that are available, and I want to draw you to the attention of the Cooperative Extension, not only at North Carolina A&T, out in the county, but they have, you know, individuals with expertise that can help you, and it's based on the research that's been conducted, you know, at our university. So again, find your niche, stick with it, you know, be passionate about it, and then reach out for resources that are readily available for you.
Great discussion. Thank you, ladies. Thanks for being a part of this panel today, Women in Ag, and also thanks for being part of our hashtag Ponytail Ag campaign. So we hope everybody enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.